"Do you want to have dinner with us?" "A little girl?" asked the lonely CEO sitting alone on Christmas. The Christmas market sparkled with thousands of twinkling golden lights. Vendors called out cheerfully to passers-by, bundled in winter coats. The scent of cinnamon and roasted chestnuts filled the air. Snow had fallen earlier that evening, creating a perfect blanket. Children's laughter echoed between the wooden stalls and festive displays. Families walked hand in hand, sharing hot cocoa and warm smiles. But 34-year-old James Carter sat alone on a green bench. His dark wool coat was expensive but couldn't warm him. His perfectly styled hair and clean, shaven face spoke of success. Yet his eyes held deep sadness. James owned the largest marketing firm in the entire city. His company employed over 500 dedicated, hardworking people. He had achieved everything he had dreamed of in business. But tonight, Christmas Eve, James felt more alone than ever. His corner office overlooked the bustling holiday market below. While others celebrated with family, he worked late into evening. His assistant had gone home hours ago to her children. His employees had left early to wrap gifts and prepare traditional holiday meals. The building stood empty, except for James and his loneliness. He had finally decided to walk through the Christmas market. Perhaps the festive atmosphere would lift his spirits somehow. Instead, seeing happy families together made his isolation feel deeper. James watched couples sharing hot chocolate from the same cup. He observed grandparents lifting grandchildren to see the decorations better. He noticed fathers carrying tired children on their strong shoulders. These scenes reminded James of what he had sacrificed completely. Years of building his business had cost him relationships. His marriage had ended 2 years ago when Rebecca left. "You love your work more than you love me," she said. His parents lived 3,000 miles away in sunny California. They had invited him to visit for the holiday season. But James had declined, claiming important business meetings required attention. The truth was James felt uncomfortable at family gatherings now. He had forgotten how to relax and simply enjoy life. Work had become his entire identity and his only purpose. As James sat on the cold bench, lost in thought, he noticed a small movement. A little girl was walking toward him with careful steps. She appeared to be about 5 or 6 years old. Her blonde curls peeked out from a gray knitted hat. The hat had a cheerful palm that bounced gently. Her burgundy coat was neat but clearly not expensive. Gray mittens covered her small hands as she approached. In one mitten, she carried a small brown paper bag. The bag looked like it contained cookies or holiday treats. Her blue eyes sparkled with the innocent curiosity of childhood. She stopped directly in front of James's bench and studied him. Her head tilted slightly as she considered his sad expression. There was no fear in her face, only gentle concern. "Mister," she said, in a voice as clear as bells, "why are you sitting here all by yourself tonight?" James was startled by her direct but kind question. Children rarely approached him, and he wasn't sure how to respond to her innocence. "I'm just watching the Christmas market," he said softly. "It's very beautiful with all the lights and decorations." The little girl nodded seriously. "It is really pretty tonight. But it's Christmas Eve, and you look very sad." Her observation was simple, but accurate, cutting through his pretense. James found himself touched by her honest, caring concern. "What's your name?" James asked, genuinely curious about this child. "I'm Lucy," she replied with a bright, warming smile. "Lucy Patterson. I'm 5 and 3/4 years old." "That's a beautiful name, Lucy." "I'm James," he said gently. "It's nice to meet you." Lucy shifted the paper bag to her other mittened hand. "James is a good name. My daddy's name is David, and my mommy is Sarah. Are your parents here at the market with you tonight?"
"Yes."
"They're buying hot chocolate from the stand over there." Lucy pointed toward a nearby vendor with steaming mugs. "They said I could walk around and look at things." The James marveled at her parents' trust in letting her wander. But the Christmas market felt safe and welcoming tonight. Families looked out for each other's children instinctively here. Lucy, James said carefully, you should probably stay close to your parents tonight. I will, Lucy promised seriously. But first, I wanted to ask you something important. As she opened her small paper bag and peered inside thoughtfully. Mommy bought me special Christmas cookies from the cookie stand. Would you like to share one? The gesture was so innocent and generous that James felt his eyes begin to fill with unexpected tears. That's very kind of you, Lucy, but those are your special cookies, he said softly. Mommy always says sharing makes things taste better, Lucy replied. And you look like you need a Christmas cookie. As she pulled out a star-shaped cookie decorated with colorful icing. This one has green and red sprinkles, she announced proudly. It's really beautiful, don't you think? James accepted the cookie with hands that trembled slightly. It's the most beautiful cookie I've ever seen, he said, and in that moment, he truly meant every word. Lucy beamed with satisfaction at his appreciation of her gift. See, sharing does make everything better, just like Mommy said. As James took a small bite of the sweet cookie, Lucy climbed up onto the bench beside him uninvited. Her small legs dangled freely, since they couldn't reach the ground from the seat. James, Lucy said thoughtfully, are you going to have Christmas dinner with your family tomorrow? The question pierced through James's carefully constructed emotional defenses. No, Lucy. I don't have family nearby to visit. That's really sad, Lucy said with genuine sympathy and concern. Everyone should have Christmas dinner with people who love them. Her simple wisdom hit James harder than any business lecture or motivational speech he had ever heard.
You know what?
Lucy said, suddenly, her face brightening considerably. You should come have dinner with my family tomorrow. James was completely taken aback by her spontaneous, generous invitation. Lucy, that's very sweet, but I couldn't impose on your family. What does impose mean? Lucy asked with innocent curiosity. It means I would be bothering your family, or making things difficult for them. Lucy considered this explanation seriously. But Mommy always makes too much food for Christmas dinner. And Daddy says there's always room for one more at our table. Before James could respond further, two figures approached their bench. A man and woman in their early 30s walked over. The woman carried 2 steaming mugs of hot chocolate. Lucy, sweetheart, the woman called gently. There you are. Lucy jumped up excitedly from the bench to greet them.
Mommy? Daddy?
I made a new friend named James. The woman, who James assumed was Sarah, smiled warmly. Her blonde hair was similar to Lucy's, and her kind eyes reflected her daughter's gentle, caring nature. The man, presumably David, extended his hand toward James. Hello, I'm David Patterson, and this is my wife Sarah. James stood and shook David's hand with genuine appreciation. James Carter, I hope Lucy wasn't bothering you. Not at all, Sarah said with a warm, welcoming smile. Lucy has a gift for making friends wherever she goes. Mummy, Daddy, Lucy said excitedly. I invited James to have Christmas dinner with us tomorrow. Sarah and David exchanged a quick glance of silent communication. James felt embarrassed by Lucy's forward invitation to her parents. Lucy, honey, Sarah said gently. That was very thoughtful of you. I told her I couldn't possibly intrude, James said quickly. But I appreciate the kind gesture. David studied James's face carefully. He seemed to recognize the loneliness that James was trying hard to hide. Actually, David said slowly, I would love to have you join us for Christmas dinner. Sarah nodded in agreement enthusiastically. Lucy's right that I always make far too much food. And Christmas is meant for sharing with others. James felt overwhelmed by their unexpected kindness and genuine warmth. I don't know what to say.
Say yes.
Lucy exclaimed happily. Please say yes, James. We live just 3 blocks from here, Sarah added gently. Nothing fancy. Just a traditional home, cooked Christmas meal with good company and conversation. James looked at this family who had welcomed him so easily and without hesitation. Lucy's innocent invitation had opened a door he had not expected to find. If you're sure I wouldn't be imposing, James said hesitantly. You wouldn't be imposing at all? David assured him sincerely. Would genuinely enjoy your company. Then yes, James said with growing warmth and gratitude. I would love to join you for Christmas dinner. Lucy clapped her mittened hands together with pure delight. This is going to be the best Christmas ever. Sarah pulled out her phone to exchange contact information. Dinner is at 2 o'clock. Would that work for you? That would be perfect. James replied, still somewhat amazed by this unexpected turn of events. As they prepared to part ways for the evening, Lucy reached into her paper bag one more time. James, she said seriously, I want you to have another cookie to take home tonight. She selected a gingerbread man, decorated with a cheerful smile. This one looks happy. Just like you should be now. James knelt down to Lucy's level to accept the gift. Thank you, Lucy, for the cookies and for the invitation, and for reminding me that Christmas is about sharing. You're welcome, Lucy said with a big, satisfied smile. I'm really excited for tomorrow. As the Patterson family walked away into the twinkling night, James remained on the bench for a few more minutes. He held the gingerbread cookie carefully in his gloved hands. For the first time in years, he felt genuine anticipation for Christmas morning. The next day, James arrived at the Patterson home precisely at 2 o'clock as promised. He carried a bouquet of flowers for Sarah and a bottle of wine for David. In his coat pocket, he had a small wrapped gift for Lucy, a beautiful book of Christmas stories he had purchased that morning. The Patterson house was modest, but warm and inviting. Christmas lights outlined the windows and doorway cheerfully. A wreath decorated with red ribbon hung on the front door. Lucy answered the door wearing a red velvet dress with white lace trim. Her blonde curls were held back with a festive green hair ribbon. James,
You came?
she exclaimed with unbridled joy and excitement. I knew you would keep your promise to us. Sarah appeared behind Lucy, wearing an apron over her navy blue dress.
Welcome, James.
Please come in out of the cold. The house smelled of roasted turkey, fresh bread, and cinnamon from holiday desserts. A Christmas tree stood in the living room, decorated with handmade ornaments and twinkling white lights. David emerged from the kitchen, wearing a festive sweater with a reindeer pattern.
Perfect timing, James.
I was just carving the turkey. James was struck by how natural and comfortable everything felt. Despite being strangers yesterday, the Pattersons treated him like a beloved family member. Can I show James my presents? Lucy asked eagerly. After dinner, sweetheart, Sarah said with gentle patience. Right now. Let's all sit down and enjoy our meal together. The dining room table was set with care and attention. A red tablecloth provided the foundation for good china and crystal glasses. Candles provided warm, flickering light. Lucy insisted that James sit next to her at the table. She had saved the spot specially for her new friend. David said a simple grace before they began eating. We're grateful for this food, for our family, and for new friends who remind us what Christmas is truly about. The meal was delicious and abundant, just as Sarah had promised the night before. Turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, and fresh dinner rolls filled the table completely. But more than the food, James was nourished by the conversation and laughter that flowed freely around the table throughout dinner. Lucy told stories about her kindergarten Christmas play. David shared funny memories from his own childhood, Christmas celebrations. Sarah described her tradition of baking cookies for all their neighbors. James found himself sharing stories he hadn't thought about in years. He told them about Christmas mornings with his parents, when he was Lucy's age. He described building snowmen and sledding down the hill behind their house. "You should call your parents today," Lucy suggested seriously. "It's Christmas, and they probably miss you too." Once again, Lucy's innocent wisdom cut straight to the heart of truth. James realized he had been so focused on work that he had neglected the relationships that truly mattered. After dinner, they moved to the living room, where Lucy opened her Christmas presents with enthusiastic delight. She was especially thrilled with the book of Christmas stories from James. "Will you read one to me?" she asked hopefully. James spent the next hour reading The Little Match Girl, while Lucy curled up beside him on the couch. Sarah and David listened from nearby chairs, enjoying this unexpected but perfect Christmas scene. As the afternoon turned to early evening, James reluctantly prepared to take his leave. He had imposed on their kindness long enough. "Thank you for the most wonderful Christmas I've had in years," he told the Patterson family sincerely. "Thank you for joining us," Sarah replied warmly. "You made our Christmas even more special." Lucy hugged James tightly around his waist. "Will you come visit us again soon?" she asked. "I would love to," James promised, and meant it completely. As James drove home that Christmas evening, he felt transformed by the day's unexpected gifts. Lucy's innocent invitation had reminded him that success without connection was simply sophisticated loneliness. The next morning, James called his parents in California for the first time in months. They were overjoyed to hear from their son on Christmas Day. Over the following weeks, James made significant changes in his approach to both work and life. He implemented flexible scheduling that allowed employees to prioritize family time when needed. He began volunteering at a local children's literacy program on weekends. Reading to children reminded him of the joy he had felt reading to Lucy on Christmas. Most importantly, James maintained his friendship with the Patterson family. He joined them for Sunday dinners and attended Lucy's school plays and performances. Lucy became like the daughter he had never had, and David and Sarah became the friends he had been too busy to cultivate. 6 months later, James met Rebecca for coffee to finalize their divorce papers. She was surprised by the changes she saw in her former husband. "You seem different," she observed with genuine curiosity. "Happier. More at peace. I learned something important about what really matters," James explained thoughtfully. "A success means nothing if you have no one to share it with." Rebecca smiled sadly but with genuine warmth. "I'm glad you figured that out, James. I hope you find someone who appreciates the person you've become." A year after that Christmas Eve encounter at the market, James met Catherine Walsh at Lucy's 6th birthday party. Catherine was Sarah's sister, a teacher who shared James's newfound appreciation for the importance of family and relationships. Their courtship was gentle and unhurried, built on shared values rather than convenience or attraction alone. Lucy approved enthusiastically of James's new girlfriend. "She makes you smile the way Daddy makes Mommy smile," Lucy observed with her characteristic directness. James and Catherine were married the following Christmas, in a small ceremony at the Patterson home. Lucy served as flower girl, scattering rose petals with ceremonial importance and obvious joy. During his wedding toast, James raised his glass to Lucy and her parents. 2 years ago, a little girl in a gray hat invited a lonely stranger to share Christmas dinner. That invitation didn't just change my Christmas day. It changed my entire life. Lucy beamed with pride at being recognized for her role in bringing the family together. "See," she announced to the gathered wedding guests, "sharing really does make everything better." Years later, when James and Catherine had children of their own, they would tell them the story of how their family began, with a simple act of kindness from a 5-year old girl who saw a sad stranger and decided to do something about it. Lucy taught me that Christmas isn't about what we receive, James would always conclude. It's about what we choose to give, especially to people who need it most. And every Christmas Eve, the extended family would return to that same Christmas market where their story had begun. They would sit on the green bench where Lucy had first approached James with her innocent invitation. Lucy, now older but still possessing that same generous spirit, would look for other lonely people who might need a Christmas cookie and an invitation to share in the warmth of human connection. There's always room for one more at our table, she would say, echoing the wisdom her parents had taught her and that she had taught James about the true meaning of Christmas and family. The Christmas market continued to sparkle with golden lights each December. But for James, the brightest light would always be the memory of a little girl who had the courage to invite a stranger into her family's love and change his life forever.